G'day, Jeff Lewis here from Seriously Series, and welcome to another Tech Top Tip video. Here today I'm doing a bit of work on the Series 3 in anticipation for the motor to be coming back and ready to go in. But I've been dealing with the front axle assembly and in particular the swivel hub housing, and I've found some rather startling and rather shocking variations in regards to spare parts. So if you want to know what spare parts you want to be looking out for, not only for your Land Rover but your off-road going vehicle, then you know what to do. Support Seriously Series on Patreon. If you're new to the channel, click on that subscribe button down below, click on that notification button too, but most importantly, stay tuned. Right, so I've been doing some work on the front axle assembly and particularly the swivel hub housing. Now I've replaced the swivel hub housing on the front left hand side of the Series 3. The reason being is there's pitting or defect in the chrome and that becomes quite rough. It scores out the seal and it causes the oil, or if you use grease, causes the grease to leak out. So I've gone about replacing it, and that's pretty much in the process of that I've found some rather shocking discoveries. Now when it comes to swivel hub housings, there's a couple things you can do. You can take yours off your vehicle, you can send it away, and a lot of companies will do a exchange program. So you send your old ones in, they give you a couple Recode ones off the shelf. Now that's all well and good, but it's amazing what you can get back. It's not actually the same. Now if you have a close look at these two here, I'll come up a bit closer. We've got this one here and that one there. Now at a glance they look pretty much the same, but this first one here is a lot thinner on the outer walls than this one here. The weight's considerably different too. So I had a chat to Damon about it and he said, well, maybe the temperament of the steel or metallurgically it's a little bit different. That could be the case. But I don't know about you, but I'd prefer to go with one that's a little bit thicker and a bit more robust. And that's pretty much the same construction as the one that I pulled off the Series 3. Now, obviously wanting to do things right, I was going to put this one on the Series 3. But I went to put the Ryco bush in and it just basically fell in. It didn't require any pressure for it to actually be pressed in place. So that means I can't use this. Now, I knew there was a problem with the swivel hub housing for a while, so a particular establishment on the other side of the world where I get some Land Rover parts from, I decided to buy OEM. And OEM is basically, in very simple terms, is probably the upper echelons of spare parts or aftermarket parts that you can buy for these vehicles. But sadly the firm that I bought it off didn't give me an OEM one, they gave me a Britpart one. And Britpart, as many of you know, has a bit of a dubious reputation in Land Rover circles. Some stuff they do is really good, and particularly, you know, axle seals and that, I really haven't had too many problems with them. However, some other parts leave a lot to be desired. And in particular, and I'm not saying Britpart, but sort of other aftermarket manufacturers that produce these swivel hub housings, I've seen and heard of cases where they actually crack around the base of the actual ball of the swivel hub. And that can happen due to obviously metal fatigue, and probably due to the case of the casting actually being quite thin to begin with, and maybe the actual quality of the steel or the metal being slightly inferior. So for me, the best thing to do is go original, go for the thicker variant, and obviously original's always best, and then that negates that problem. But as I've just said, the Ryco bush doesn't fit into it properly. So I'm going to have to run a Brit part swivel hub housing on this. And this video isn't just me ranting about this stuff. I'm getting to the point, or the clincher. My recommendation, and it's my observation, it's just an opinion, it's up to you. But my opinion is, and observation is, if you want to buy new swivel hub housings for your Land Rover vehicle, get old new stock. And that's what I'm going to be doing. I'm going to be buying, and I know they're not the best either, I'm going to be buying British Leyland swivel hub housings. Brand new, in the box. They're not cheap, but it's one less thing to go wrong, and it's peace of mind on my part. I know that that swivel hub housing isn't going to shatter inadvertently whenever it feels like it. So that's what I'd recommend. Because when it comes back to getting them reconditioned, the weakest link, and it's no discredit to Land Rover spare parts companies, but the weakest link is the person that you talk to. And I've talked to a number of people, and they've been, I wouldn't say dismissive, but they've been a bit cavalier about the swivel hubs, and they've said they're all the same for all Land Rover variants and models and whatever. And that's not the case. And many of us watching this video know that for sure. The Series 1 from 48 to 54 is completely different in the swivel hub housing compared to a later Series 1, Series 2, 3, because they ran a tractor joint, or that's what I call it. They didn't actually run a universal joint. And then if you look at the Land Rover Series 3 Stage 1, the swivel hub housings are completely different for that too. So it is a problem. It is a problem, and that's where I think the easiest way is buying old new stock, fork out the money, and then you know exactly what you're going to get. But anyway, I hope this video wasn't too rant-esque. It's just something that I think is very, very important, and I think it's something well worth highlighting to you guys and girls out there, particularly if you're doing a Land Rover restoration, but more so with other restorations out there too. Because this is basically the same axle assembly that's run on most Land Cruisers and most patrols out there. So anyway, as always, hopefully you found this video informative, useful, and you're enjoying the content here at Seriously Series. And if that is the case, then please do support Seriously Series on Patreon. All proceeds go to the production of these videos and a heck of a lot more. And if you're new to the channel, then please do click on that subscribe button down below, click on that notification button too, and I hope to see you in our next video. Thanks for watching.